I'm Charlie.
And I'm Tasha.
And we built this van at the end of 2019 to live in full time. Unfortunately, the pandemic got in the way for a while. But at the beginning of 2022, we moved into our home on wheels and we've been travelling ever since. So we thought we'd do an updated van tour today. Things we've changed, things that haven't worked, things that have worked well, and give you a nice, honest review of our build, of our layout, and how we've got on.
Let's have a look.
So the base of our conversion is a Mercedes Sprinter 316 long wheelbase. The previous van was a medium wheelbase and that was great, but then we got another dog. We actually travel with 2 spaniels and we just needed that little bit of extra space, so we went for the long wheelbase. The van itself, the Sprinter, the engine is fantastic. It is literally like driving a car. We've got cruise control, we've got air conditioning, we've got Bluetooth, we've got parking sensors, we've got a camera at the back, and all of these things accumulate into a really nice van to travel in full time. So we paid just over £10,000 for the van, which in today is unheard of. This would be a £16,000–17,000 van now. It had a few battle scars around it, which we had to sort dents and dings all the way around the bodywork. But touch wood, ever since it's been converted, ever since we've lived in it, we've had very little issues with it.
So in terms of the layout of the van, we first saw this layout done by an American couple on YouTube. A layout that allows us to have the bench seats in a U form during the day and a table in the middle. And at night, when we go to bed, the table pushes down onto these bars and allows us to have a big bed. We realised that a fixed bed layout wouldn't work for us, partly because we live with 2 spaniels, as we said, and we travel with them, so it just wouldn't give us the space we needed. We also both work remotely from the van, so having this layout allows us to have seats and a table by day, providing us with a comfy office, and at night a large bed for us to sleep in. One of the changes we made is we changed the double seat in the front to a single seat. There's a few reasons why we did this. One of them was so that we had access into the back, partly whilst we're driving, just so it's easy access. And sometimes if we're somewhere and it's raining, we no longer have to get out of the van to get back in the van to then leave. Another reason is the dogs. Previously we said we kept the double seats because the dogs like sitting up with us. But we found the more we travelled, the more comfortable they were actually laid on the floor. Our diesel heater has remained where it was originally. It's just now under the single seat base rather than the double seat base. Another handy feature in the cab of the van is this thermal curtain. We use this on warm days just to keep the heat out from the back of the van if it's still really warm in the front, and also at night to keep the heat in the back. We just pull this thermal curtain and tuck it in. Next up we have the wardrobe. Really simple. Wardrobe's just split into 5 sections. Charlie has a section, I have a section, the dogs have a section, then we have a section for our towels and laundry, and then the bottom section is for our shoes and camping chairs. So one of the updates we've made since living in the van is we actually added another shelf here. We just found this shelf really handy that we were using for miscellaneous items such as dog poo bags and treats, etc. And we just found we were grabbing things from the van as we were leaving. So this one is now really handy to hold our axe and first aid kit.
So the part of our van we get the most questions about is our shower. This is a game changer for us. We didn't have a shower in our last van. To have a shower in this van and somewhere to have a bit of privacy when you're using the toilet is made a huge difference for us. The boarding in here, this isn't actually tile, although it looks it. It's just a tile effect board. It's 3mm thick, it's really lightweight. The only issue we've had, which was my own fault, was during the winter we moved out of the van for 3 or 4 days. I forgot to turn the water off and it froze and it popped the valve out the side of the shower. So this isn't the original shower, we've actually fitted a new one since. Apart from that, we haven't had to reseal it, we've had no issues with our shower curtain.
So our kitchen comprises of a 2-burner gas stove. We chose to place the stove here partly for ventilation, so that whilst we're cooking it just keeps it a lot easier to get the smell ventilated, and also if it's on a nice day like today to be making a cup of tea or cooking, then you get the best views. Below our gas stove we have a 65-litre compressor fridge. Honestly, after living in the van for a year, it's probably a size too small for us. We have recently had an issue with the freezer door, actually broke off due to the ice. It's our fault for not de-icing it so often, and we've also got a little bit of a dodgy light now and then. So for our kitchen we've got a nice deep sink. Honestly, great choice. We found from living in it from a year. You can hide the dishes if you don't want to do them. Really easy to wash the dishes as well. We've got plenty of space to do so. Has aged a little now, got some dinks and dents where things have fallen out of the cupboard above, but has done pretty well for a year. The only issue we've had with the tap is where water has unfortunately seeped into the laminated worktop. This tap has actually started to sink a little bit, but I mean, it's still in use, it's still completely practical. In terms of the laminated worktops, although we have had the issue with the water, honestly really easy to clean. Yeah, I think it would have aged a lot worse if we'd had real wood in here. And then on the opposite of the side of the kitchen, we've just got a nice plain worktop, really handy. Sometimes Charlie will even work from here if we're giving each other a bit of space, or it's great for preparing meals. We've then got some more storage baskets here. Don't need to explain too much, but yeah, used just for utensils, speakers, basically anything that we're looking to grab. And then just this nice big IKEA drawer. So one issue we have had with this drawer, because it's so big and heavy, is we really struggle to find locks that actually help it stay closed. We've bought many different varieties. You can see right now the one we actually have in is broken, so probably half the time we spend traveling in the van, the drawer's actually taped up. Honestly, if anyone has any recommendations for ones that would do the job, would be very grateful to know about it. So ventilation wise, MAXXAIR fan, it gets used most days, I would say, from when we're cooking here. And honestly, we've been really impressed with it. It's in need of a clean at the minute, but it's very easy to clean when we do clean it, and yeah, really easy to use. Overheads above the kitchen, quite simply the one above the sink is just our bowls, cups and spices. One thing we have learnt slightly over living here a year is keeping this area organised is key. So we now have a few more little baskets from IKEA and everything to keep things together. And then the overhead over on the other side of the kitchen is just food.
So this overhead here is our electrical control panel. Not only that, it also stores all of my tools, spare gas regulator, spare fuses, anything that we may need on the van, WD-40, tape, all of that sort of stuff is stored in this cupboard. It's really handy because if we need to isolate anything in an emergency, we need to quickly get up here and check anything, it's all here, it's all handy, and that's the main reason why we put it in an overhead cabinet. An upgrade that we made to the van just before we left, we changed from AGM batteries to lithium ion. That has been a game changer for us. We now have 180 amp hours of usable battery. I think before with the AGMs we had like 90, so we've doubled our amp hour use.
So one of the changes we have made since living in the van is to our thermal blinds. We originally had them made so that they fit our windows perfectly. Over time, especially with heat, and I think while we were stretching them out quite a bit to fit, they no longer fit. So one of the changes we made is to add more suckers onto our blinds. Also added a thermal fleece lining on, and the fleece lining also tucks really nicely now into the corner of the window. So another change we've made since living in the van for a year is we've added this little guy, this little fan. We found in warmer climates, even with the MAXXAIR fan, windows and doors open at all times, especially when going to bed, this little guy was needed.
So one of our favourite parts of our van is our dog crate. We travel with 2 Cocker Spaniels, Riley and Winnie. Riley's 5, Winnie's 3. In the evenings, it's quite nice when they're tired, we can put them in their crate. They're quite happy in there. It's their space. They've got all their blankets in there, and that's where they sleep at night. That's also where they go if we go into a food shop or we pop out. We can lock them in the van. One thing we absolutely raved about in our last van tour, which has changed a little bit, is our outdoor shower. We don't use it, to be honest with you. I think we may use it if it was on the outside of the van more. So ours is on the inside of the van. We open the doors and then we can use it. We thought that maybe we'd use it to wash the dogs. We don't. We end up putting them in the shower because it's easier, it's contained. Letting soap and everything run everywhere, it doesn't look very good when there's other people around. So we tend just to do it in the shower, and then the waste just runs into the waste tank. Yeah, we haven't really used it. I think I've used it to wash the paddleboard down once or twice. It's just one of those things we fitted. We saw it on another van tour online and we thought that's a great idea, and it's just one of those things for us personally we haven't really come to use that much.
So one small addition we made just before we left actually were these little baskets on the back of the overheads. I searched high and low to find ones that would actually fit that exact size. We honestly use them all the time to store books, our phones, Kindle, chargers, really useful space to have. But one thing about the van that probably has changed over the year, so some of our favourite memories we then print into photographs, which we now keep above the door. We also bought a very nice print just of Europe, and I do like to collect magnets along the way.
So the biggest and most expensive upgrade we made to the van after coming back from our travels last year was the suspension. We were way too low last year, and the travel on the van, where it's fairly heavy with the conversion now, it was bouncing around quite a lot. So we upgraded the rear leaf springs on the back. We changed them from 3.5 ton springs to 5 ton springs. That was a game changer. That made a huge difference to the ride of the van. The back of the van stopped bouncing. It would bounce once on the bump and then just settle, which is exactly what we were after. It looked a bit funny, the van, because it was really high at the back and really low at the front. We ended up buying a lift kit from a company called BlackRock Outfitters in the UK. The lift kit is created by a company called Savage. That's balanced the van and leveled it. It made a huge difference to going off-road. We love finding park-ups in the middle of nowhere, which you'll see from our travel vlogs, and that enables us to go really far, and that gives us really good clearance on all the tanks underneath, make sure we don't drag anything. So something that's a little bit different in our van to other vans is we actually have electric hot water. We have a 16 litre hot water tank with a 750 watt element in it, and that runs off our inverter and off our lithium-ion batteries, and that has been fantastic. A few reasons why we went for this. We actually got recommended it from another couple that had this system, and now we recommend it to everyone that we come across. It means we carry less gas on board. I'm not a huge fan of LPG. If I had my way, we would have electric cooking as well, but the technology's not quite there yet. It's still using quite a lot of power. Even on the cloudier days, we still have hot water. The lithium-ion batteries, they are the reason this is successful. So under the back seat is 100 litres of fresh water. Purposely, we put this inside. We travel all year. We've been in minus 14 degrees centigrade up to 42 degrees centigrade. We can't have any pipes freezing, don't want any pipes freezing, so the only pipes that are outside are our waste pipes. Everything that's pressurised by our pump and accumulator system is inside, and that's proven really effective.